Imagine the factory that forges the West's greatest fear, the place where they assemble Iskander ballistic missiles, Topol intercontinental ballistic missiles, and that very Oreshnik missile with which Vladimir Putin so assiduously frightens European capitals. This is the Votkinsk plant in Udmurtia, one of the most secure facilities in the Russian military-industrial complex, hidden deep in the rear. But on the night of February 21st, 2026, something happened that the Kremlin considered impossible. The air defense system malfunctioned, and Ukrainian missiles destroyed the workshops where the doomsday weapon was being manufactured. 1,400 kilometers from the front line, a perfectly planned strike. And if you think this is just another fire at the factory, you're wrong. This event is a game changer. On the night of February 21st, residents of Udmurtia awoke to a series of powerful explosions. Minutes later, panic erupted in local Telegram chats, with people posting images of a fiery glow and plumes of smoke over the city's main enterprise, the Votkinsk Machine Building Plant. The official response was predictably muted. In a video address, the head of the Republic, Alexander Brakalov, stated that one of the facilities was attacked by drones and mentioned casualties, but modestly omitted the exact number. However, local residents began reporting explosions long before the governor had time to record his reassuring video. The devil is in the details. The Votkinsk plant is more than just a factory. It's the heart of Russia's strategic missile forces. It's here, 1,400 kilometers from the Ukrainian border, that Yar's intercontinental ballistic missiles, Bulava submarine-launched missiles, Iskander-M short-range ballistic missiles, and Kinzhal hypersonic missiles are mass-produced. But most importantly, this plant is responsible for producing missiles for the Oreshnik system, Moscow's latest weapon in nuclear blackmail. A strike on such a facility would be a slap in the face to Russia's entire strategic security system. How did Ukraine manage to reach Udmurtia? Initial reports claimed drones, but the reality turned out to be far more intriguing. The Ukrainian OSINT project Cyber Boroshno and several analysts confirmed that the strike was carried out by the latest Ukrainian FP5 Flamingo cruise missiles. Several hours before the attack, on the evening of February 20th, Denis Stillerman, co-owner of the Ukrainian defense company Firepoint, which specializes in kamikaze drones and Flamingo missiles, posted a video of the nighttime missile launch on the social network X. The caption was laconic. Just a short video, no context. Context will appear later. And context did indeed appear, in the form of burning factory buildings in Udmurtia. But the picture would be incomplete without understanding exactly where the strikes occurred. Initially, public accounts reported damage to workshops number 22 and 36, but later, analysts, after examining satellite images, pointed to building number 19. This is the galvanizing and stamping shop. A gaping hole measuring 30 by 24 meters gapes in the building's roof. The nature of the damage suggests that the missile penetrated the roof, and the epicenter of the explosion was inside, causing the interior to burn out completely. Why is this so important? Stamping and electroplating are fundamental processes in rocket engineering. They form the metal body parts and apply special protective coatings necessary for the rocket to withstand the enormous forces and temperatures during flight. The destruction of such a workshop doesn't just halt the assembly of one specific missile, it disrupts the entire production chain. Without the bodies and protective coatings, final assembly of the Iskander and Oreshnik missiles is physically impossible. Essentially, Ukraine has eliminated one of the key links in the logistics of the Russian military-industrial complex. This brings us to the main point. We are witnessing a radical shift in strategy. If in 2022 to 2023, Ukraine was fending off missile strikes, trying to protect its cities, now, in 2026, it is methodically destroying the enemy's industrial base. This is a classic strategy of attrition, comparable to the bombing of bearing factories in Schweinfurt during World War II. Back then, the Allies realized that there was no point in chasing every tank and plane on the front. They needed to deprive the enemy of their ability to produce them. Kiev is acting in exactly the same way now. But that night wasn't limited to Udmurtia. Synchronous with the strike on the missile factory, a swarm of drones descended on the Samara region. The target was the Neftogorsk gas processing plant, a Rosneft subsidiary. The region was on alert around 10 p.m, and by 12:30 a.m, the first reports of drone strikes were coming in. The result? A massive fire. According to eyewitnesses, 5 huge fuel tanks burst into flames, illuminating the night sky with a bright glow. The Neftogorsk gas processing plant processes natural and associated petroleum gas. Once again, we see a precise targeting. A strike on gas infrastructure is a strike on the budget that finances the war. Russian authorities have yet to comment on the extent of the damage at the plant in the Samara region, but the footage of the raging flames speaks for itself. What's the bottom line? Overnight, Ukraine demonstrated its ability to simultaneously strike military, industrial, and energy infrastructure targets at depths of up to 1,500 kilometers. The Flamingo missile proved its effectiveness, bypassing the vaunted Russian air defense systems, protecting a strategically important facility. The psychological impact of such strikes is colossal. Factory workers deep in the rear, who yesterday believed the war didn't affect them, are now seeing burned-out workshops with their own eyes. Will Russia be able to quickly restore production of Iskander and Oreshnik missiles? The destruction of unique galvanic equipment is a problem that can't be solved in a couple of weeks, especially under harsh sanctions. Putin can threaten the West with new missiles as much as he likes, but the reality is, to launch a missile, it first needs to be assembled, and assembling them is becoming increasingly difficult. The war has finally returned to where it began, to Russian factories, and it appears that the Ukrainian Flamingos have only just begun their hunt.